and I will post the webinar recording later. And after we're done here, I'm going to show you how to find the webinar listings on our relaunched TAR website. So stay with us until the end, and I'll show you how to use our new event tool. If you have technical issues with this Zoom platform, please don't call us here at TAR. We don't maintain this app. The number for help at Zoom is 888-799-9666. Extension 2. I'm going to say that again, so grab a pencil if you need it. It's 888-799-9666, extension 2. And again, please don't call our nice receptionists with problems about this, because they don't know how to fix it. All right, our presenter this morning is the very, very patient Pius Leung, whose name I'm probably mispronouncing, and I apologize. Pius was the International Realtor of the Year with the Houston Association of Realtors in 1998. He is a worldwide CCIM instructor. He was the CCIM Institute President in 2005 and currently serves as president of the CCIM Foundation. He is a visiting professor of the School of International Economic and Trade at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing, China. Wow. I think I'm going to let him take it from here. So I'm going to disappear and Pius is going to take over. Thanks, everybody.
All right, Amy, thank you. I'm going to cut off my cell phone, so I'm just talk to the computer directly. So good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to welcome to the very first commercial webinar hosted by TAR, and I'm thankful for Amy to extend the invitation for me to be the presenter for this first webinar. So I really haven't done this in particularly. Now I'm talking to the computer. I'm not sure whether you can hear me, because I certainly cannot hear from Amy. She and I, during her introduction, I was listening to her through my cell phone. So technology, we are now living in the 21st century. Technology is great when it works, but it becomes a little challenge when it doesn't. So most of the time, technology won't work when you need them most. So here it is. Hopefully today, I'll provide you maybe with some new insight to provide you with a little key. Hopefully you can open into additional opportunity for us, the realtors, real estate professional, to capture part of the international business. So why do we care? Here is, this is because opportunities are out there for us to capture. In a few minutes, I'll show you some statistics. Hopefully, in case you are in doubt, there's no foreigners here in our great state of Texas. If you are those who think that, you are wrong. And I don't believe any of our realtors have that belief. Because opportunities is really out there for us to capture. The good news is, years and years ago, when we start talking about doing international business, people will think, hey, I have to get on a plane 10, 15, 16 hours to get there, lost some time and deal with the air jet lag and trying to do some business. But now, in today's environment, we really don't need to get on a plane. If we kind of look out on our own neighborhood, on our backyard, opportunity are purely out there for us to capture. It's up to us to see whether we can capture those opportunities. Coming to this webinar, hopefully I can provide you ways to open some up new doors to increase your productivities or maybe revenue for 2018. And then as a result, you don't miss the boat. When I said this, you don't miss the boat, meaning we are all taking home with some commission. So that is our goal. Amy already mentioned a little bit about me, but if you would allow me to give you a couple more data as well. Of course, I am a CCIM, I'm a CPM, as well as a CIPS. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and this is my 41 years living in the United States. I came here in 1977. And I still am a senior CCIM faculty member for 104, 105, 101, 104 class and the CCL. I'm a number guy. I like to teach numbers. And I served as the president of the CCIM Institute in 2005. Last year, the CCIM Institute celebrated our 50 years birthday. I was the 39th president of the Institute, and I am still the only one of the CCIM president who wasn't born in the United States of America. So last year, I served as the president of the CCIM Foundation. A little bit about myself. I am now back into the software business for the second time. All my career, I'm a real estate practitioner. I manage properties. I do consulting work, brokerage work, and whatnot, leasing work. But between, I joined August in 2006, and I became the Chief Administrative Officer from 2010 to 2013 when our shareholders sold the company to the current owner, which is a Canadian puppet trade company. And my second time go around back under software business actually start last October. And when I went back to work for a company called REO Nate, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to have 2 slides. I want to tell you a little bit that will be definitely beneficial to all of us. In particularly, right now, everybody is looking for alternative for Xceligent because Xceligent went out of business last December. Enough on that. I'm going to save it at the end of the presentation. Here's my email, my work email, as well as my personal email. You're welcome to email me anytime in the future if you have any questions. If I can help you with the answers, I will reply within 48 hours. I'm very good in managing my email inboxes. And just yeah, always welcome, offer that to all my students in the past, and some of them have taken advantage of that. So a little statistic, immigrations to the US by decade. By taking a look at this, there's a little graph from 1850 all the way to 2015. You can see the numbers of immigrants all of a sudden from maybe not even making maybe a little over 1 million at the beginning, in the middle of the 19th century, and all of a sudden go up substantially, in particularly after year 2000. And you also can see as a percentage of immigrant to the populations of our country. Here's another chart of showing numbers of annual immigrant amid the United States from 1820 all the way to 2012. So a question here, if you would take a second or so, how many foreign-born you think currently live in the United States? I'm using the data on 2015. I'm sure the number is a little different now because we are 2018. But if you take a second to guess, so I imagine some of you will say, oh, man, maybe there's 100 million. Well, if you are that, you're wrong. We are a country now, maybe about what, 330 million. So if you take 100 million, you're wrong. Someone said, well, what about 4.1 million? Well, you're also wrong as well. And then, of course, some of you might take any one of it. And the answers, yes, in 2015, the answers is in 2015, we have 43.3 million foreign-born live in the United States. I have no doubt that number definitely will be higher in today's numbers. So here is the foreign-born population data in 2010. Look at Texas. We have a percentage. Our foreign-born in our great states roughly represent about 16% of our home state populations, and this gives you a little relationship as far as the foreign-born and percentage of total population of the United States from 1850 to 2010. Where are those foreign-born populations coming from? Majority of that coming from our neighbors in the South, Mexico. But surprisingly, China is number two, roughly sitting at about 2.2 million in 2010. People from India and Philippines, they all kind of square out at about 1.8 from that standpoint. So in 2015, I'll take a look at it. That's the last time I saw some published data. In 2015, in that particular 1 year, we have 1.38 million of immigrants to the United States, which is about 2% increase over 2014. And you will say, hey, where's all these people? Where's the top 5 of the country these people is coming from? In 2015, India taking the lead at close to about 180,000. China coming next at about a little bit more than 140,000. Mexico, Philippines, and Canadians. This wrap up the top 5 countries with the most amount of immigrants to the United States in 2015. And then let's take a look at the population change in our country. According to the U.S. Census in 2017, we're sitting at about 324 million people. If I compare that to our census in 1990, our country had only about 248 million. That is a whopping 31% increase on our population. It's not too shabby. But interestingly, if you look at the foreign-born 2015, we're sitting at about 43 million. In the same time, 1990, there's only about a little less than 20 million. If I run the math, wow, that's 118% increase of foreign-born in the United States during the same period of time. So where are most of those people coming to our country? The top 10 states where they receiving the most amount of non-citizen immigrant in 2013, you will see a little differences there. I mean, Texas is definitely a recipient of many of those immigrants, 42% from Latin American, 40% from Asia. They're really neck to neck. They're only about 2 points, a little bit more than 2 points. From Latin American more than the Asian country. And then we have roughly about 9% for Europe and Africa and others sitting at a bit under 8%. So if you want to look at from a percentage, you want to see at the same period, 2013, how many peoples are we really talking about? From Latin America, we're looking at roughly about 54,000 plus. From Asians, about close to 51,000, and European about 11,367, and Africa and others just below 10,000 people in 2013. So now you say, okay, it's good to know about our country. What about Texas? What about our great state? So here we go. Our population 2016, we're about 27 million. 1990, our state only was sitting about a little bit more than 17 million population. That is a 60% growth, which is higher than the national growth. And then the foreign-born in 2010 is roughly about 4 million. And 1990, which is 20 years ago, we are sitting at 1.5 million. Guess what? The percentage increase here is 172%. If you're not sure, there will be opportunity for us to capture working with international investors. Here is your number. I mean, it really doesn't matter what part of our state you're from. Have a feeling that there will have some immigrant living there. And percentage of distribution of foreign bond living in Texas, of course, 75% came from Latin America. Europe has about 5.3%, Asia 16.1%, North America, meaning what the only country left or North America is not mentioned here is Canadian. So there were about 1.3 coming from that, and then Africa and Oceanic round up the rest at 2.2%. Interestingly, some of us might have heard of some of this international company in Texas. Again, depends on where you're from. I mean, I'm sure many of you, just like me, we have heard of some company for sure: Shell, Toyota, Philips, IKEA. Those are well-known company. Most of us are familiar with. But to my surprise, when I was doing some of the preparation of this, I noticed some of the company, for example, Odessa. I mean, I have never heard about that company. I imagine that company probably in the oil and petroleum business. That's just my guess. But interestingly, if you have international companies in that part of our state, probably some of the immigrant probably also comes from where the company was originally formed. Globalization. Okay, let's get into a little bit about how do we start focusing on working with international customers. First of all, globalization. What is globalization? It is a movement of countries, companies, organizations, and people towards a single market environment. Now the world is actually one single market. If you look at this little international regional capital flow in 2016, out of that whole year, there's about 210 billion coming in and out of each country. You can see, I mean, I'm being a Chinese, so I'm a little biased. I like to kind of talk about China a little bit more, so I hope you guys will understand and accept my my shortfall from that angle. For example, in China, we got 20 billion coming in from into United States, and then 1.4 billion of our investors going back to China. That is how you read this map. Money moving from one places to another with a push of a button. So the last time I checked, I don't think the 2017 numbers is out there yet, but the first half of 2017, we're already looking at about 83 million. I mean, the whole year in 2016 is about 210 billion. So if I have to bet on it, my money is 2017 number probably will become very close to 2016, maybe have a fair chance to bypass the 2016 numbers as well. So if you were the top, if you were international investors, where are you going? What are the top 10 global cities? All the cities we probably are very familiar with it, but we live in Texas. I'm a native Houstonian. I'm excited to at least to report and show, according to this study in June 2017, Houston ranked number 7. As a top global city for real estate investors. And in case you live in Dallas, don't be unhappy. You guys are sitting at number 20. So with this little chart, you can see, hey, this is literally the top 30 global city where the real estate investors would like to invest. Okay. And let's take a look at the trend since 2013. In 2013, London The top three probably never changed, but the order might back and forth a little bit. In 2013, again, we really don't care about London. We care about some of our city in our great state of Texas. If I look at 2013, look at both Dallas and Houston's are right in the middle of the pack, which is great. And 2014, Dallas maintained where it was. Unfortunately, Houston dropped. That's the beginning of the oil price challenge. And if you look back, continue on another year in 2015, sad news is Houston is no longer on this list. But thankful, Dallas still maintaining its position. And the good news in first quarter 2017, now Houston's back on this list, which is we are very thankful for that. I mean, Dallas and Houston are literally neck and neck on the direct commercial real estate investment on the top 20 city in quarter Q1 2017. So who are the buyers? So, of course, we're talking about United States as a whole. So I'm kind of focusing on the European side. For example, Germany is pretty leading the pack out of the whole Europe continent. The Germans are the biggest buyers of our real estate in the United States. If you're coming from Middle East, you're talking about Middle East investors. Israeli is sitting at about $2.2 billion. I can see that number. I think I'm close. Canadian did about 15.1 billion in direct acquisition United States. And if we're looking at the Asia region, of course, China is leading the pack at the 16.5. So if you are looking at the top direct acquisition in US, guess what? The answers are people from China are leading the pack with the most amount of direct acquisition in the United States. And then most of them are individual. We do have a small portion of it. We call it a portfolio investors. We do have a tiny bit, and we call that entities, maybe international companies coming in. But the key takeaway here from 2001 all the way to 2015, the people who invest in the United States, majority of those are individual. Meaning, what is the key message here? Meaning you and I are in a position to reach out to those folks. Maybe we can do a deal or two, or maybe even more with those international buyers. So a little bit more statistic, interestingly, according to a TAR, Texas is second only to Florida for home purchase by foreign buyers. For 12 months ended March 31st, 2017, 34,000 home was purchased by foreigners, roughly about 18.7 billion in value. And then if you ask, hey, what about commercial stuff? I said, okay, we do have a little statistic here. Chinese leading the pack. Chinese did about 17% of all the transaction. Mexico investor take about 14%, UK and Venezuela, they both sitting at 7% together. But when we talk about international investor buying commercial properties, the average size deals of the international investors, roughly about a little less than 2.5 million. So that's kind of give you some ballpark, some general idea. Then you might ask, is well, why people are coming to invest? Why people like to come to United States? And I have a few reasoning here for your consideration. I mean, our education, we have strong system of higher education. People around the world, including my parents, 41 years ago, they decided to clean up all their saving and send their sons. I have one little brother. Both of us came here in the United States to go to college because we're not smart enough to go into college when we grow up in Hong Kong. So as a result, we have to go overseas. And that thinking have never changed. For the past 40 plus years, international investors, they said, oh, maybe I should come here and invest because United States has a strong system of higher education. Why? Because their children, or even though themselves, may be able to take advantage of that. Our country is a leading consumer market. People all around the world can come here and anybody can buy stuff here in the United States. I mean, but that's not the case in other countries. We are a leading consumer market. And we also have a culture that supports entrepreneurship and innovation. So, I mean, we are a country with many immigrants. And we do have an open regulatory environment. And we have some strong private equity and venture capital markets. So those are some of the top 5 reasons why investors are investing in the United States. So again, this is a little introduction. So I'm going to touch different areas. So stay with me. I'm not trying to jump around, but I thought I'm going to try to bring in some key points, so at least you guys will be able to walk away with some positive stuff. So when if you are interested in working with the international investors, you do have some business protocol. You have the do's and the don'ts, and I have one slide here talk about the do's, and I have one slide talk about the don'ts. You should pay more attention to the don'ts because you want to have a second chance to work with the international investors. I always describe our real estate business, in particular international business, is like playing a baseball game. You know, people here in Houston are very excited about the upcoming baseball season because guess what? Remember, Astro won the national champion, so we're hoping they will continue that journey. So, but the way I look at international business, some of us, I say, hey, look, I met with some Chinese people, I met with some European, Latin Americans, so people from Middle East, or maybe people from Africa. But I thought the meeting went well, but never heard back from those potential investors. And you're stretching your head, is that you really don't know why, but in your opinion, you did a great job. And maybe with for the next 2 slides, it might be give you a little indication. So some of the do's on the business protocol, I mean, we do need to have proper greeting and seating. People around the world, they're a little bit more formality than us. We comes in, sometimes we like to shake our hands, we like to wave, we like to see it anywhere. But if you are dealing with international and investors, it has a certain protocol. The way you greet and certain part of the world, you don't reach out to women and hug them. I mean, we are a country of hugs. We love to hug people. Even though that's the first time, the second time we meet with those, we will hug them, but not in certain part of the world. And seating, I mean, we don't come in the room and sit anywhere we want to sit. Sometimes we need to be patient. We need to say, we need to be told where to sit. And then do remain silent when they think. I mean, again, remember, we've been speaking, I mean, not we, most of you have been speaking English all your life. I've been speaking English for 41 years. So listening to English, speaking English become natural for us. But imagine yourself, you're English speaking folks. Imagine you're in a meeting with a bunch of Chinese and you are supposed to talk to them in Chinese. Just kind of imagine yourself in that position. Don't you think you will take some time to really absorb what people are telling you? So it's no different. When we are presenting, talking to our prospective client, they are trying to process what you tell them. So, I mean, don't worry about being silent. Silence sometimes is good. They are processing. Do so proper respect. I mean, the older the people in the room, in particularly, again, I'm relating to the Asian culture. Older people in the room, whether they probably won't say a single word in the meeting, but they probably are the final decision maker. So you will be a better gambler if you show them the respect you're showing, or maybe extra respect to those folks, and they will acknowledge it and they will see it. And to use consensus in decision making. And sometimes title are important because title bring credibility. So sometimes when you exchange cards with international investors, some of you might have seen some folding card. Why do they do that? Because they have a lot of titles. And as a matter of fact, they put those titles on the business card. Why do they put it on the business card? Guess what? They want you to read it. If they don't want you to read it, they probably won't spend extra money to do a folding business card. Does that make sense? So if you indeed receive a card like that, I mean, hey, take a 10 or 15 seconds to kind of read it. But here is a suggestion. You might be laughing at it. At least you need to pretend you are reading the business card or the business card, even though you might not understand some of it. But it isn't important. Business card is a representation of that person. Okay. And do use pictures for communication. That will help communication between, because even though you might be speaking to them in English, again, that might be the second or the third language. Do give giving to familiar client. Gifting is very common, very popular. And then here it goes, the business protocol for the don'ts. Okay. So number one, don't cross your leg when you see it. I mean, so for certain part of the world, they look at that as a very offensive gesture. Don't put that business card away. You know how, just kind of think back, people give us credit card, business card, not credit card. People give us their business cards. That's what. Some of us put it into the front pocket. If you have a shirt, you put it there. I'm speaking from the bad habit from man, because I can relate to that. I don't really know how a lady put away that business card, because I've never done that. So some of us put the business card we receive in our back pocket. We'll put it in our side pocket. That is a big no. I said that on the previous slide. Business card represent the person. Okay. So and then don't forget the names. Don't address them by their first name. In the United States, even though you and I met for the first time, we're already on first name base. We're not hesitate to call each other by the first name, because we are used to it. It's common here, but not the rest of the world. The first name are reserved for family or reserved for friends that they actually know you. So generally speaking, you should address them by their last name. By their last name. And then once the relationship being created, fostered, and whatnot, eventually they will tell you, hey, from now on, you can call me Pius. If indeed they told you that, you know you got it. You know you got it. The relationship already been established. Hopefully that will be a client of yours for the rest of your career. So, and then the next is don't jump into business immediately. Again, our practice here in the United States, the minute we sit down, after 2 seconds, we start talking about business, not the rest of the world. I mean, a lot of times the first meeting is just to get to know you meeting. They want to see you and they want to assess you. They want to see whether I want to work with this person. So now this could be this could be an answer to some of your wonderings. I thought we have a great meeting with a potential customer, but they never call me back. Well, maybe you keep talking business, or you might make some mistake on the way you handle their business card. You might call them by the first name. I mean, that's a lot of reasons for that. And don't speak too quickly. Try to be sensitive. Again, they're listening to English. Don't be a clock watcher. Don't look at your watch every single 5 minutes. Those are very impolite gesture. Again, don't talk too much. Don't force them to answer. Sometimes they just cannot provide you an answer on the spot with obvious reason. First of all, they might have to go back and report it to somebody else, and report to someone at a little higher level than them, or maybe they are processing it. So don't force them to have an answer. Sometimes, again, some of us might have heard about a term called face saving. We don't want to cause our potential customer to lose face in front of their colleague or in front of their groups. So another area, if you are interested in working with international investors, I think it's important for us to be sensitive to something called foreign currency and measure. I'll call that is a 3-step plan, is convert the currency. Again, everything was buy and sell here in United States in US dollars, right? Yes, if we go to the state of Mississippi, I spent 5 years in Mississippi. I went to school there at Ole Miss. So if I decided to go back to Mississippi and buy some stuff there, yes, I'll use the same old US dollars there. There's no difference of currency. However, if people coming from Europe, people coming from Mexico, Canada, Asia, around the world, they have different currency. They don't necessarily use US dollars. So how do we convert that currency from their currency to us or from the US currency back to them? So that's step one. Step two, the price per unit of area. Interestingly, we are the only country in the world using square feet in our measure. The rest of the world using what? They're using square meters, okay? So when we are dealing with investors from European, they come in and say, hey, I'm interested in buying a 200 square meters condominium. And all of a sudden it's like, well, what is he talking about? I mean, I don't have 200 square meter. I know 2,000 square feet or 500 square feet. As a matter of fact, 200 square meter equivalent to about 2,200 square feet. I'll show you the map in a minute. And then last but not least, we need to be sensitive on converting the time. Sometimes the price are being quoted on per annum base, but in some part of the country or the world, they're quoted on per month or even per day. Rental rate, I have seen, I mean, as a matter of fact, if you go to Shanghai to rent some space in Shanghai, rent in Shanghai are being quoted in a per day base, okay? So we need to be sensitive to foreign currency and measurement. A little bit about Europe, a different currency. You might not have heard about that. The currency called euro, pound, yen, and yen. So you're wondering where those money coming from. So I'll give you that little answers in a minute. So, but a little idea on currency. That as the currency get weaker, exchange rate get increased. So, for example, more foreign currency to buy the same amount of the US dollar. As the local currency strengthen, meaning exchange rate decrease, it means in a practical way, fewer foreign currency to buy the same amount in the United States, in the US. So here is euro, people from the European Union, they now use euro. If you are not aware, we don't have any more German marks. We don't have Italian lyrics, and so forth. They're all using euro, and pounds are being used by the UK. And yuan or renminbi, you might have heard of it. Those are the Chinese currency, and yen, of course, coming from the Japanese. So how do I keep track with currency trend? In a few ways. The easiest way is for us to go to the internet and www.xe.net currency. You'll be able to convert currency from US to the Chinese yen or from the Japanese yen into US dollars. So a quick exercise, for example, US dollar equals to 6.64 yen. Again, this is Chinese currency. And US $1 equal to 7.8 Hong Kong dollar. So if I have 5 million yen, how much US dollar is it? So 5 million is a big number, but 5 million yen, not US dollars. So 5 million yen is only about, I would say, maybe a little less than, we simply use the 5 million divided by 6.664. I should have the answers here. I do not, and I apologize for that. And if you have $25,000, you go to Hong Kong and want to have a good old weekend and spending money. So if I'm sitting at $25,000, how much Hong Kong dollars you will have? You're using that times 7.8. That will give you, you probably have close to 150,000 Hong Kong dollar. And then area of measure, we already have talked about square meter versus square feet. 1 square meter is 10.7639. So you really don't have to remember all those decimal. You can either use a 10 or 11 on a high level. If someone comes in here and say, I'm interested in buying, I'm interested in renting 1,000 square meters, meaning they are looking roughly about 10 to 11,000 square feet of space. So you can do that math in your head without really punching some numbers. 200 square meter, how many square feet? You use 200 times 10.7639. Boom, there's your answer for square feet. And if you have a property or if you have a house at 2,500 square feet, and you're selling it to an investor from Germany, you probably will tell him the house that I'm showing you is maybe about 250 or 240 square meters. So, and then again, mention that a little bit. Be careful, rent are being quoted differently. Even in our country, certain part of the city, they are being quoted per annum. Certain part are being quoted on a monthly basis, even though in our own country. So the rest of the world could be a little different. A general information, rent a quote in the Shanghai area by US dollar per square meter. But in the same old country, in the city of Beijing, rent are being quoted, and according to renminbi, which is Chinese currency, per square meter, they have the same area of measure here, but in Beijing, they're quoted per month. So the point I want to show that's here, just want you to be a little sensitive to that. And then last but not least, converting time period. This is one of the simplest conversion. You multiply that by 12 if you want to figure out, do a quote per year base, and you divide it by 12 to get to a month presentation. So a quick example here, let's say office building in Houston, Texas. Our asking price is $25 per square feet per year. That's the rent was quoting to. As a matter of fact, I have a misspell here. It should be per square foot. So I got a little Chinese investor coming in, renting some space. My goal is to turn this 25 US dollar per square foot per year into renminbi per square meter per month. So here's the first step, 25, again, my exchange rate is 6.64. So that's equivalent to about 166 renminbi per square feet per year. I did the step number 1. And step number 2, I used the 166 renminbi because I'm looking for per square meter. So I multiplied it by 10.7639. So if I'm quoting renminbi per square meter, it will be 1,786 renminbi per square meter per year. Last but not least, they're coming from a city ran a quote on a per month base. So I use 1786 renminbi divided by 12. Boom. Well, I will relate this to the Chinese potential investor and say, look, the space here is asking for 25 bucks per square foot per year. That's equivalent to about 148 renminbi per square meter per month. A word of suggestion here, we might not be able to speak the foreign language, but a word of advice, if you're showing a property, it really doesn't matter whether they're residential or commercial, there's a price tag attached to it. We will be able to take an extra step to convert it to their local currency. So won't you think the customer, your potential investor will start seeing a little differential between you and other competitors? At least they will come to us saying, hey, this realtor's working with us, they are at least cultural sensitive. So just kind of take that whatever it worth. I mean, just a few extra stroke of keys, I mean, ain't going to be too difficult. So if I may, Amy, I'm going to have 2 more slides here. I'm going to save the questions to the last. Again, I don't want to push the company I'm working for, but there's 2 messages I want to at least relate it to the audience. If you are the CCIM, if you are a member of the CCIM, you are CCIM Destiny, you can use the market edge of our solution for free. The CCIM Institute have an agreement with REO Nate. All the CCIM can use the market edge for free. And then you say, what is market edge? Market edge is an analytical tool as well as a marketing brochure software. So you should at least look for it. And then last but not least, I want to spend a couple of minutes on something called marketplace. In today's, I think all of us are really looking for a list and search alternative because of what Xceligent did. They went out of business and left many of us wondering what's going on. So I encourage you to visit realnatemarketplace.com. This is a free list and search platform. Again, I want to focus on the word free. It is free now, and it will be free in the future. So do check them out. I imagine you will find pleasant surprise on it. We don't have premium listing, meaning everybody can list and everybody can search everything anywhere. With that, I want to conclude I just cut off Amy. She just called me. So hold on a second. So Amy, if you hear me, so would you call me back again? Okay, I got it. So with that, thank you for allowing me this opportunity and to present. And I hope all of you have 1 point or 2 good takeaway for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Pius. Thanks very much. All right. So we had a couple of questions, and I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
Well, actually, I have a couple. I've heard there's renminbi and then there's yuan. Is there a reason there are so many different names for Chinese currency?
Well, there's only 2 names called renminbi and then yuan. Renminbi is literally, if you translate it, is the people's money. So that's how they used to call it. But as the word is getting a little longer, the world is catching on. They say, well, the Chinese yuan is the same as renminbi. So okay. They are.
I see. All right. And then somebody asks, if we're not to jump right into business, what kind of things are usually better to talk about in the beginning?
Well, I think that at the beginning is to get to know each other. I mean, again, as I'm getting older, I remember when I have at the beginning of my career, I have no choice. I have to work with every single one, even though I don't like those people. I still have to work for them. But the thing is, they are assessing us is to say they see is this someone that they like to continue to have a dialogue. And you should be doing the same thing. How do you feel about your potential prospect? Are they some people you like to work with? And it's nothing more than an assessment. Get to know each other. They might ask you some questions. Interestingly, as the world is getting smaller, technologies become a lot more common. Some of the questions that they ask you, let me tell you, they probably have the answer. So my suggestion, if you know the answer is great, give it to them. If you don't know the answers, tell them, sorry, I don't know that. I'm not familiar with that. Can you wait for me until the end of Friday? I'll get back with you. They will give you more respect from that angle if you tell them you don't know the answer instead of making something up.
Okay. Someone asks, do you have any information about how the current political climate is playing on the overseas investment market here in America? Is our rather interesting situation causing any...
Let me try, Tim. I try not to be political. I mean,
yes.
we all support so and so. I'm not going to hear. But people looking at our country, unfortunately, is a little messy. They are not sure where our country is going. But good thing, the positive news is real estate. We are in the real estate business. We all believe real estate will gain appreciation in the long term. The question is, long term, what does that mean? Is that next year? Is that 10 years from now? Is that 100 years from now? Nobody knows. So at least from that standpoint, people buy real estate, they are on the long-term process. Hopefully, our country will improve over time to be better back to a little bit more stabilized. I hope I try to answer this in the right way.
All right. Someone says that they have some Korean background, having studied Taekwondo for a long time, and knows that knows that handshakes are very important, and asks what kind of handshake do the Chinese use? Okay. A bow looking into eyes or not, hands folded. They know that that's really important.
Yes, thank you. Number one. If you meet a Chinese lady for the first time, if they don't extend their hand, then that means there's no handshake from that standpoint. But if they are comfortable with that, they extend their hand. You on them maybe a couple of second delay to see how they react. Chinese man handshake is not as strong as what we used to. So remember, don't overpower them by giving them a strong handshake. It will hurt them. So just being sensitive on that standpoint. I mean, sometimes their handshakes are very weak from that standpoint, but the men are familiar. They're used to the handshakes.
Okay, so no bow is the follow-up for that.
Well, there is a difference. I mean, I don't know whether you have read my article, Amy there. There is a Chinese bow and there's a Japanese bow. Chinese bow is a little kind of on the shoulders, kind of bow a little, maybe about 5 degrees, a little bit is very gentle. The Japanese bow could be as worse as 90 degrees. So it depends on who are you bowing it to. So that's a little different.
Okay. Someone asks, how do you get started networking with foreign investors?
Well, you probably, of course, your local, depends on where you're from. I think your local associations, including the State Association, Texas Association, they probably now are more sensitive. They probably have programs, try to bring the sensitivities to their members. I think that might be a good starting point. Be on the lookout when you meet folks, even go out to a restaurant, talking to the Chinese restaurant owner. I mean, who knows? They could be your customer one of these days. So again, my message here is international business is in your backyard. Let's see how.
All right. We have several people saying thank you.
Okay.
And someone says, do you believe that the tariffs that might be put in place will be a hindrance to business from overseas?
Well, I'm not an economist. I'm just a regular real estate practitioner. Of course, now I'm in the software business, so I'm a business person. So tariff, we need to be sensitive on that. It's easier for us to say, okay, I'm going to put tariffs on you. Guess what? The other side, what are they going to do? They are going to do something back to us. Is it going to hurt us? Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're in that business, then you certainly will be painful. But if you're not, then we might not be sensitive to it. So.
Okay. That looked like it was most of our questions. Actually, I have one more, which is you were talking about those conversions, and
yes.
I'm wondering, should you go in already having those conversions set up? Is it okay to ask a potential client if they would like to have those conversions done? Is it, does it look bad if you don't have it when you first go in?
My suggestion is, in particular, you know you are in compete with other folks. So I'm just making a very good example. This house is $450,000, 3,500 square feet. Great, just two numbers. So if they're coming from, it's easier to convert the 3,500 to about 340 some odd square meters. That's very easy. And then the 450,000 US, if they're coming from Europe, they're using Euro, let's convert it in that and have them side by side. So you're not bespoke. In case you're running a wrong math, everything are being executed according to the US dollar. So you have it on side by side. The message you are giving to that prospective investor is, you know how to work with international investors. People are trying to get the same business. My guess is they probably won't do it. So that makes a little separation between you and them. With all things equal, then you're already ahead of them.
I see. All right, that's great. Okay, I have a couple people asking if it's possible we can get your slides.
Sure.
And I can
what I will do, I can send that to you, or you're welcome to send me an email. Either way, I'm okay. And Adrian, I saw you just ask the questions. You know more about trade mission than me. So.
Yes, okay, and I have some people who want to give you their email address, but I'll get that information to you.
That would be great.
Done. And, and I can post those slides, and I'm going to actually, you've seen me flipping around on my screen here, everybody. I'm going to show you guys how to find some information on our new website. So Pius, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go now. I'm hoping everybody will stay on with me for just another couple of minutes for a couple more announcements. I will be in touch with you soon. Thank you again so much, Pius. I really appreciate it. And I'm going
to Amy, thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to working with you again.
Great. Okay. Thanks. All right. So many things. Okay. So as I promised earlier, I'm going to show you guys the way you can find out about events now on our website. So this is our new website for TAR. And if you want to find the commercial landing page, you'll go here to specialties, click on commercial. And then you'll notice when you scroll down a little bit, there's some stuff. But this is the feature I want to talk about right here, which is a listing for webinars. And this will take you to the event search or event list tool on our webinar. And this is a great little thing because you'll be able to search for all the webinars coming up. It'll do that. You can search by a specific kind of webinar, which is great. And you can even search for webinars in the past. So if you are looking for the slides or for the recording of a webinar, you can find it here. The next thing I wanted to tell you guys about is we now have a commercial group on Facebook. It looks just like this. We have been rolling this out gradually. We don't have a whole lot of members yet, but that is because I have to okay everybody, and I didn't want a deluge of 10,000 people. So, but now you know, if you go on Facebook, you can hunt for us and ask to join. This is limited to licensed realtors. And if you ask to join, we will get you in there. So I think that is all I have to tell you guys. Let me double check these questions and see if there's any others. There don't seem to be. Our next webinar is going to be April 17th. Just to remind you, our commercial webinars are the third Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. April 17th's webinar is going to be an update on TREC and TREC regulations, which is always a good thing for everybody to do. So that will be listed in the webinars on the webinar tool like I showed you. I hope that you will join us on that day for that webinar, and I hope you'll join us in our Facebook group. And unless anybody else has any questions for me, which it doesn't look like they do, I'm going to sign off today and say thank you all very much. Keep your eyes on that webinar tool. When I post the slides and the recording of this one, that's where you'll be able to find the link. All right, everybody. We'll see you next month. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.